Hello everyone and thank you for joining me. My name is Eugen and today I will be showing off a pen that I had for a while but haven't actually used it yet. The Jinhao Centennial Fountain Pen. The specific one that I will be focusing is the version that came with a 14K gold number 6 nib. I do have two other Centennial pens without a gold nib, and I'll be using at least one of them during the drawing part. I guess I will also try and do a small nib comparison to let you decide which option is better for you, if a gold option is even worth it. I have purchased the 14K nib version from eBay and I paid around 120 Canadian dollars plus an additional 2 Canadian dollars for shipping. The other two steel nib versions, I had them for a longer time and I got them from AliExpress for around 24 Canadian dollars each and free shipping. Going quickly through the fountain pen has the classical shape of the duofold with the flat ends finials on the cap and the barrel. Looking at the cap, top of the cap, it has the Jinhao logo with two men in a carriage. Pretty nice clip that it's actually very functional. And the cap ends with a middle band that says Jinhao, nothing on the back, and then continues with a straight barrel that tapers down a little bit before the end ring, and well, the finial for the barrel, it's flat and tapers a little bit down towards the end. Doing a quick shirt test, the clip slides in fairly nicely and you will be left with only the top finial visible on the pen and the clip, and the pen removes easily from the shirt. The ball seems to be completely round, nothing stamped, so most probably it's been soldered on. The cap, it's a twist cap. I can't remove it in one twist as I usually do, so most probably this is more than two turns. But once you remove the cap, you will be greeted by a black section, a pretty nice and comfortable section, but short, and the 14K nib that comes with this fountain pen, which is actually a very nice nib. I like the design of it, the shape of it, and the scroll marks that it has on it. The pen comes with a standard plastic feed that hopefully will work just fine. Usually they tend to work very well. And going back to the cap, as you can see from the video, from the endoscope video, the cap does have a screw at the end, and that's the only way you can actually unscrew this top finial. But the construction inside is very simple with no inner liner. The band extends a little bit to past the edge of the threads and acrylic, which is a good thing because it will protect it from damaging or cracking. I haven't had any issues with any of the bands coming off. Going back to the pen, as I said, the section is fairly short. However, the way it meets with the barrel is not intrusive. It's a little bit of a step, but nothing bad at all. So if that section is too short for you, you can definitely use the barrel as part of the section. The threads are not intrusive at all. If anything, they actually help with gripping the pen. And the section, maybe it's a little bit slippery, but not that bad, to be honest. The acrylic on the barrel is matching with the acrylic on the pen. And I like the black ends that this version comes with. It makes that acrylic stand out even more. The balance of the pen is actually pretty good. It's not bang on in the middle, it's slightly towards the nib heavy. So that actually makes it for a good balance, especially when you write, since you don't have to fight with the pen at all. The pen does post quite securely actually, it's not deep, and makes the pen quite long. And unfortunately it does change the balance towards the top of the pen, which makes it top heavy. If you hold it from a little bit higher up, it's not that uncomfortable, but if you tend to grip it right at the section, that might be a little bit awkward, especially if you hold it in this position. Makes it for a really top heavy pen. However, if you do hold it from higher up, it's not that bad, and for drawing, especially for loose sketching, I think it's actually pretty comfortable. Gives you a lot of options. However, if you don't like that pen, at least in my hand, it has a really good size and it does not bother me at all. I will most probably use this pen unposted. Well, actually, I've been using the other copies unposted most of the times. Speaking of the other pens are newer versions as far as I know, and the only difference between them is the finials. They're not black, they are the same color or acrylics as the main body of the cap and the barrel, and at the same time the section is matching the acrylic of the pen as well. The other difference is that the clip is slightly different from pen to pen. However, everything else seems to be exactly the same. And just to give you a quick look of the 14K nib next to the steel nib, they're both very similar. It's just that the colors, as you can see, are slightly different. Removing the barrel, the threads are actually very smooth. The pen does come with a converter, which sits in very nicely. The threads on the section are metal, and it does come with an O-ring, which helps with keeping the barrel securely down. The barrel doesn't have metal inserts. However, I haven't had any issues with the threads being shaped by the metal threads on the section. And as you can see from the feed, there's no plastic inner liners on the acrylic, and it's pretty nice and smooth in there. The good thing about the barrel and the section is that the threads are matching very nicely and they are very smooth. I see no issues in there, and that the O-ring helps with holding the barrel down without you being required to force tight the barrel. For today's drawing, I was planning to use two colors. And I think I will be sticking with this Diamine Maroon, and also maybe this Sunset Orange from Dryden Designs. This is the only orange color that I have in my collection of inks. However, it's a very pleasant ink, and as you've probably seen from my previous videos, I've used it a couple of times and it has some nice colors to it. Since the other pens are exactly the same, I will only show how to fill up one of them. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's pretty much very similar with all the other cartridge converters fountain pens that I've been using. Very simple: remove cap, remove barrel, piston down, pen in the ink, go halfway up, then go back down, and then go all the way to the top. The pen gets a pretty good feel, and the session cleans up pretty nicely, and that red and gold looks actually pretty nice. I usually clean my nibs, but I might leave it like this just because I like the color combination. Doing a quick writing sample. First the maroon. I hope there will be a difference between that orange and this maroon. This is the Jinhao. Centennial. Fountain pen, the 14K version. The nib is actually pretty nice. Not sure if the mic picks it up. but I do like the feel it has and the noise it makes. And the reverse on the pen, it's really dry but sort of usable. If I go slow, the flow is better. If I go fast, it's a little bit drier. I like the nib. It's fun. And it's fairly wet. You can get a little bit of line variation. The tines do spread a little bit, and you'll get actually a little bit of more ink on the page. Both nibs are writing pretty much identically. The end result, I don't see a huge difference between the gold nib and the steel nib. However, I have to admit that based on how it feels, the gold nib seems to have a more robust presence on the page, if that makes any sense, and the sounds it makes, it's a little bit different, seems a little bit more solid. As for the steel nib, it feels lighter on the page, and the noise that it makes is slightly different. A little bit high-pitched, more high-pitched, and a more hollow noise, if that makes any sense. For today's drawing, I was planning to do a maple leaf, with all the fall colors that I've been surrounded with. I thought that maybe I should give it a try, since the maroon and the orange colors that I choose for my drawing. And what better thing to draw other than, a maple leaf, being Canadian and all that. So this drawing is going to be very simple, just one leaf. I'm not sure how I'm going to combine the two colors on the leaf. I might introduce another color, depending on how the drawing is going to go, like a green, since, well, as you probably noticed, if you look at the leaves, sometimes they're not entirely red or entirely orange. They have color combination with red, orange, and sometimes just a touch of green here and there. And it might make it for an interesting drawing. With that said, I'll get into the drawing and I'll let you know my opinions on this pens. Today's drawing turned out to be a repeat of the last week. Not 100% sure I like the end result. I think I will start experimenting less for now and get back to just some normal drawings starting with next week. I do like how the leaf turned out, but again, like last week, I am not sure of what I have done around the leaf. I guess I will call it abstract as well. Regarding the fountain pen, not a lot of things to say about the pen. I find it very hard to dislike it, well, unless you don't like the design and shape that it has. I guess there is a reason why years later, after Duofold was launched, people still crave this type of fountain pen. Kudos to Parker for bringing this design to market. Things that I like about the Jinhao Centennial pen, well, first thing that comes to mind is the shape and size of the pen. I really like it, and for my hand feels very comfortable, especially unposted. I do like both nibs, gold and steel, and I think that the newish number 6 nib is great as the old one. Another thing that you gotta love is that the pen comes in a lot of acrylic options. Things that I don't like as much on the Jinhao Centennial fountain pen. First thing that pops in my head is posting it. The pen feels a little bit odd and maybe not ideal if you are using it only for writing. I mean, it works, but makes the pen a little bit top heavy and on the long side. But then again, all other pens that are copying the Parker Duofold are having the exact same issue, well, including the Duofold. The other thing that I noticed and found it a little bit of nuisance, The reverse on the steel nibs was kind of scratchy and not as smooth as I would have liked it, but again it sort of works in a pinch if needed, and I guess you could smooth it out if you really want to. Oh, and I'm not a big fan of that large letter F on the nib. Feels like it ruins the aesthetics of the nib somehow and throws it off balance. But, well, that could just be me. Overall, I definitely like the fountain pens, with gold nib or not. And based on how many acrylic options are out there, there is bound to be one that will have the right pattern for you. As to which one is better, gold versus steel nib, I think that you can't go wrong with either one of them. As I said in the writing sample part, both nibs write exactly the same and have the same amount of bounce to them. The only difference that I can feel is how the nib feels on the paper and the noises it makes. Will this warrant the price of the gold nib? Probably not, to be honest, but at the same time, I don't have any regrets having it. So in the end I say, buy what you like. I doubt you can go wrong with either one of them. If by any means I have missed anything or you have any other questions, please leave a comment below and I will try and get to it as soon as I can. Please feel free to also leave a comment if you want to share your own experience. We all have different experiences and it'll be nice to hear what other things of this pen. My experience might be different than yours, and that's okay. With that said, I thank you for joining me today, and I hope I will catch you next time. Wish you all the best and a wonderful day or night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.